So every week I go on to the AMC app because we have A-List and we can see 3 movies a week for $20 a month. If you're not on that and it's available to you, you should be. And I check to make sure there hasn't been a movie that came randomly into theaters. We do this quite a bit. I mean, this is how we saw Parvulos, Children of the Apocalypse, like a couple weeks ago. It's how we ended up seeing When Evil Lurks, which was my number 1 film of that year. Yeah. Just checking it randomly, I saw this title. And because someone in the comments a few days ago was like, are you guys going to see Marshmallow? I was like, I don't even know what that is. I haven't even heard of it. So thanks to them, I noticed it. I probably would have noticed it anyways because I always click on anything that looks horror-like, and it definitely had like a horror poster, so I clicked on it, and it had a showtime, and it was by us, and it was perfect. So we went and got to go see this, which this is for all intents and purposes, a summer camp slasher.
Yeah.
You know, so of course we have to liken it and compare it to Hell of a Summer, which was just released last week. But this one is its main
competitor,
sort of
movie.
But unfortunately, there was literally no one in this theater.
Yeah.
As expected.
Yeah.
Because this is getting 0 marketing. But is it a better film? Let's discuss. I definitely have a lot to say, so I'm not going to steal too much of the thunder here. Because I feel like after I'm done saying everything I'm saying, you're going to be like, cool, I have nothing. So you go ahead.
Yeah, well, we talked about this a little bit. I also have kind of mixed feelings. I know that's what you had said to me when we got out of the theater. I really like the atmosphere and the setup and everything to this film. I think it has a really good, vibe to it. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I know we both loved about it is the fact that it's, an actual summer camp with kids and children actors playing their age and being very true to life, acting like children would.
Yeah.
So all of that's really believable and really great to see because we get a lot of, especially summer camp slasher movies or summer camp horror movies where the kids aren't there and it's just the counselors that are left behind.
Yeah.
So I really like seeing it actually populated by children, which I thought was cool. The music was really rad.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I really liked the performance of our main kid character. Yeah. I thought there was some really cool visuals. There's some nightmare stuff going on because he struggles with nightmares, and I really liked everything to do with that.
Yeah.
And then the third act happens, and it's definitely a totally we kind of started to guess what was going to happen, ish, maybe halfway through, sort of part of it, and then you get the full reveal of what's going on, and that kind of came out of nowhere for me.
Yeah.
So I think that's where it's going to lose a lot of people. I think this is a really ambitious movie, and it's very unique.
Yeah.
And I like that a lot.
Yeah.
But I think that there's going to be a lot of people expecting this to go a certain way, and then being really disappointed and not happy with what ends up happening.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so I was in love with this movie for maybe the first 2/3 of it, right? The first 2 acts. So we get the initial setup, which is this young kid who is, a bit of an outcast, and he has a great relationship with his grandfather, played by Corbin Burnson from The Dentist 1 and 2. And, something happens, and, he's dealing with that. And then he's being shipped off to summer camp, which he really doesn't want to go because he just doesn't get along with people. He's got social anxieties. He's terrified of the water. He has a lot of nightmares. And then he gets there, and, there are some lame aspects of it for sure. There's the typical bullies, and some of the counselors are pretty archetypal. And then, but he also makes some really good friends, and he has a little crush, and all that stuff is wonderful.
Yes.
And I think that the performances from the kids are very authentic. I felt like everything was very believable as kids. Very natural performances and very true to life kid dialogue, which I really enjoyed and was like super vibing with, and the music complements this film very well. The way that this is shot feels fairly 80s at time, and the movie has like a time period ambiguity to it, where I'm going to assume it's maybe the early 2000s, but with what we're learning in the film, I'm not 100% sure what this is supposed to be. Kaylee said it best here. You know, it is a very ambitious film, and I think that there will be preconceived notions that may hurt the film because we're so used to these 80s slashers, you know, that this is kind of imitating, going a very specific way. And honestly, we've seen that a million times, right? Like, I've seen it literally probably 1,000 times at this point, and I commend them for doing something different. I don't dislike it. Yeah. I think that it's something that I need to adjust my expectations to. So the way the film went for me, for sure, is that 2/3 loving it. Then it gets to the plot, like the big plot reveal, where things change pretty drastically, and then it becomes kind of a mystery till it's fully revealed. And you're kind of like, oh. And I was disappointed, not gonna lie, because I was in there like expecting it to just be a very traditional slasher. And I was like, this is working on all levels right now. If they throw in these rad kills and it ends strong, because like no real like slashing or anything happens up until that point, but it's like setting up like it's going to, so you got a lot of really good build up. Now that might turn some people off. They might not be into that. They might be like, there's too many kids talking and it's taking way too long to get to where it's going and blah blah blah. Impatient people will definitely not dig this. That being said, a lot of the classic slashers, they do wait until later into the film to actually get to any of the slashing. So I've you know, grown accustomed to patience within my slashers. But I did go into this with these, like, as I said, preconceived notions that this was going to be that straightforward thing. So my disappointment came more from my expectation than the film itself, because once we get all the reveals and I kind of accept what's going on, even though I might still have a question or two, where it goes in the very end, what we get in the last few minutes, I then kind of turned back around and loved that.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really great ending to this from what they deviated from. Like, where I was like, okay, that actually helps that latter half that I was not so on board with.
Yeah.
But because they wrapped it strong for me, and it was kind of like oh shit, okay, that's cool. You know, I'm actually higher on it now because of thinking about it more and then getting that really solid ending for me. I don't know. I feel like this will definitely be a split film.
Yeah.
That, you know, there will be people that are big fans of it, and then there will be a good amount of people who are like, you know, the kid thing, number one, which, God, that's such a strong part of this movie. I really, really love the kid performances in this.
I do too.
So, I don't know. It goes in such a different direction. But maybe knowing that going in will help you.
Yeah.
Where you're like, okay, this isn't going to be traditional.
Right.
But will you accept what's going on? That's going to be the big ask. And
yeah.
if you're vibing with it, if you're loving it throughout like we did, then I think that you'll probably, in the end, at least be like, well, that was pretty good. Like, the ending is not great. And for some people, that can just be the end of the, you know, the end all be all, like, no, fuck that.
Yeah,
you know,
of course.
Endings are botched, but...
Yeah, I think it's going to be kind of a split film. I think there's going to be a lot of people that really don't like it. And then I think there'll be some that are into it, for sure. I will say that I liked this so much more than Hell of a Summer, though.
Oh my God.
I think that
exponentially
this is like a way better summer camp horror movie.
Without question.
Yeah, just on so many different levels. So there's that. But it is also very different from Hell of a Summer. Like, it's not doing the same thing. It's just in terms of, like, the setting of summer camp, much prefer this.
Yeah.
And honestly, the other things too. I think that it's really cool that it does try to do, just like a different take than what you're traditionally expecting.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I can't say what it is, obviously, and I'm not even going to hint towards what it is, just because I don't want. If I say anything, it's going to be like, oh, it's going to totally throw you off, and start getting your head in different places. So, I guess we'll just end on, if you love like camp slashers and you're okay with it not going the traditional route. Now, I will say, as far as like kills and gore and all that stuff goes, it's not here.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But because of what it becomes, it's not necessary. So that kind of slightly sort of gives something away ish, I guess. But I don't know. I thought this was damn cool. Mm-hmm. I'll grow on it. This is something I would totally watch again, and now knowing what's going to happen, I think I'll enjoy it more, because there are things throughout that will be more obvious as it going on, and I'll get to pick up on things, and I think I'll appreciate it more. And dude, I don't need the same fucking film. Like, I think that a lot of people will just be like, I want it. And here's what's funny, and I almost feel like a hypocrite here, because I'm going to tell you right now, for sure, if this movie would have went in the direction I thought it was, right? Like, let's say the last 30 minutes was just a fucking bloodbath, gory kills, naked chicks, the works, right? I'd be sitting here like, this is a 5 out of 5. Like, this is my, one of my favorite films of the year. So I do feel a bit like a hypocrite, but I really, really do appreciate and respect the like chance that they took on trying something different than what we had expected. So even though it might not have all worked out, and the other version might have been a better film for my personal tastes, I do respect the hell out of doing something different and unique that sets it apart from anything else I've seen in this subgenre. So
yes. Sorry if you can hear banging, by the way.
God. We have little fucking demon kids that live outside. And our neighborhood, like, sends out, because we live in an apartment complex, so they send out these text messages and emails all the time about, like, unattended children, and you gotta, rein them in and this and that.
And
never,
unfortunately,
ever does anything.
They literally hang out, like, right outside of our apartment, because that's, I guess, where they live.
And they only speak at one volume.
Yeah, which is yelling.
Which is literally beyond what vocal cords should be able to accomplish.
Yes.
They are literally fucking screeching at all. It's crazy. They'll literally just be sitting there having like a normal conversation, but at like screaming volume.
It's wild.
It's like, do you talk?
Yeah, right.
They need to be put in a summer camp.
Yes. They do.
And if you know what happens in this movie, that's fucked up.
Yeah. So anyway, let us know what you think if you see it.
Support it in theaters, man.
It for sure.
It had nobody. Literally zero.
Great. It looks great, and it's got such a great soundtrack, so it's definitely one to see.
Music was so good.
To see on a big screen.
The atmosphere was good, and the fucking dream sequence was rad.
Super cool.
I really liked the performance from our main kid and his friends.
Yeah.
Good stuff, man.
Really good stuff.
Just, like, Hell of a Summer's probably doing good in theaters. I mean, fine, that's good. Good for horror, good for them. But, man, this is better.
It is.
This is better. This is a better film.
Yeah.
And it's got zero. I went and I looked at the other showtimes today. All empty.
Crazy. Yeah. So go see it if you can.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And next week, The Ugly Stepsister is coming out alongside of Sinners. So you got the big one, but also always try to support the little guy. Check out the little film, too. It's a Norwegian film. It's based on Cinderella, but it ain't like Winnie the Pooh. The trailer looks rad. At least check it out. Let's give a little heads up here, because when we say these movies are usually gone in a couple days or a week, right? By the time you see this review, it might already be gone. But I'm going to try to warn people ahead of time, like, inform them, should I say. Like, hey, this is coming out next week. check out a trailer at least. See if it's up your alley. But The Ugly Stepsister, it actually looks pretty fucking rad.
Mm-hmm. It does.
Anyway, that's that.
That's it.
Yeah, Marshmallow.
Marshmallow.
Last thing. Who else grew up thinking it was Marshmallow?
I did.
Because I fucking was very bummed to find out it was Mallow.
Yeah, Marshmallow.
It's the same thing with wheelbarrow. I thought my whole fucking childhood it was a wheelbarrow. And then to find out it was a barrow. I was like, what the fuck is a barrow? And then they were like, well, what'd you think it was? And I was like, well, like a barrel cut in half with wheels on it. Like, that's a wheel. It's a half a barrel on wheels.
Half barrel, half wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have no idea why this movie's called Marshmallow, though.
I think it's because you roast marshmallows at summer camp.
That's it. That's the only thing I can think of. They do have a campfire tale in this, but they're not roasting marshmallows to my memory.
No, they're just sitting around a fire, I think.
So, yeah, the name's odd. For anybody who's seen the movie, if you have theories on why this is called that other than it's just like a famous thing that you eat at camp.
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
If you check it out, let us know. See you in the comments.
Bye.